Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. I'm your host, May Bugenhagen. I am the founder of a boutique matchmaking company called Two Asian Matchmakers that started in Los Angeles in 2009. I've been putting together men of all ethnicities who want to date Asian women. So that's my niche. And this week on the Asian Dating Podcast, we have Jennie Agin, who is a matchmaker out of Colorado, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her. Welcome to the show, Jennie. How are you?
Hi, May. I'm so glad to be here. I'm Jennie. I am a matchmaker and coach that believes love should feel natural and not like a numbers game. I have a background in education and sales and years of guiding meaningful conversations with people of all types of backgrounds. And my goal is to really just help smart, soulful singles find clarity and confidence and connection beyond the dating apps.
So, what made you get into matchmaking and how do you like it so far?
I think that everyone carries a story, and my work in particular is helping people write their next chapter with someone who really sees them. So I love being able to have conversations with folks and learn about their backgrounds and learn about why it is that they do things. And I come from a place where I like to help people, and I think that that serves me really well as a matchmaker. So as a teacher, as a salesperson, I always led with what is going to help folks where they are at this moment in time. You know, what can I do to improve their experience or to help them learn a concept? And I think I bring that mentality to my matchmaking as well. I've always been curious about matchmaking, and so I've done it informally, bringing people together, whether that's business wise or romance wise, and I just get a lot of joy in finding, oh, this person has this particular thing and that person has that particular thing. I think they would work really well together. And so I decided that now I just want to make that part of my business, my everyday. So I'm really excited to bring my experience to matchmaking and also see where this journey takes me.
So, today, Jennie, we'll talk a little bit about dating and when it comes to a man who isn't naturally playful in dating, does it signal like that he's shy? Is he too serious? Is it something else? Like, what is your experience with dating a guy who's maybe a little bit on the quieter side, who's not naturally playful?
I think when I date people, I tend to be very playful with my banter in person and via text. And so it's important to me that the other person kind of be able to vibe with me in that way, to be able to like take a ball that I toss to them and then toss it back. And sometimes we were sharing my current experience. Dating a guy who has difficulty with that. He just kind of is a super literal thinker. And so rather than volley back and forth with this fun banter, he kind of like answers the questions that I have very literally, which on the one hand is great because it provides this perspective that he brings with him, this steadiness, this that can allude to a loyalty and consistency, which are really great qualities to have in somebody that you're dating. But it's also really important to have fun. And if the person is not able to be playful and fun via text, I think it's really important to give lots and lots of opportunities to provide them the means to show you that they can be. And maybe they're just really not great at doing that via text, especially early on in a relationship, because you don't know each other. So it's hard to really gauge a person's tone or inflection via words that are texted via the phone. So I think from my own personal experience, although it can be really frustrating to date somebody who isn't as playful as maybe I hoped that they would be, I think it's important to give that person the benefit of the doubt and to consider that maybe the way that you text is different than the way that you experience each other in person, and just to kind of give room for additional growth, and lots of opportunity to be playful, give them prompts, give them examples of what that looks like, and then maybe they'll show that they can be playful, or maybe they won't, and you'll decide that, like, even in person, their lack of playfulness suggests that you're not a good fit. Or maybe things will grow and you'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's tough out there with you have to learn how to talk to somebody in person, be playful or show your sense of humor on the date. And then now there's the other side of it. Like when you're not in front of this person, you now have to be engaging and create banter or be good at texting. So there's like texting etiquette when it comes to dating, right? Like there's
Absolutely.
a lot of women out there who want that kind of communication via text. But then there are some people that are not good texters, even with your own friends. Sometimes they're really good at responding right away. Sometimes it takes them like 4 or 6 or 8 hours to reply. So
That's true.
I guess when you're first dating, you almost have to ask your potential partner, hey, what is your communication style? Because I know I text and over text and believe that there's no such thing as over communication. But at the same time, my husband one time said, I just got 49 text messages from you today. I added all of them up. That's too much texting. And granted, he's just in the other side of the house or whatever. So I get it. You have to express how you prefer how the communication goes, right? Because not everybody likes to text. Not everybody is attached to their phone like maybe I am. So I guess that's important to talk to your potential love interest. Like, hey, what do you like? Do you like me to text you in the morning, good morning or good night? Do you want to talk on the phone? How often do you want to talk on the phone? Right? Because not everybody wants to talk on the phone now. So that's also another hurdle you have to go through when you're dating, like the communication style.
I agree. I think it is really helpful to be on the same page early on, to have somebody ask you, or for you to ask the other person, what is your texting preferences? Do you want me to text you multiple times a day? Is it okay if we don't text every single day? And that's just part of that communication piece and being on the same page. I loved having a person ask me early on, what is your preference? What's going to make you feel good? And that was such a wonderful way for me to feel like, oh, like they really care about me and they're interested in making sure that I feel good moving forward with the way that we communicate. And that, I think, that goes a long way when it comes to dating.
Now, how can women tell the difference between a man's who's simply reserved versus one who isn't interested? Can you tell that this person is not just shy, he's actually not interested in me? Like, what are some signs that men can give women to show that they're not interested?
That is such a great question. I think that's something that a lot of people, men and women both, struggle with. How do I know if this person is interested in me, or if they're just busy, or if maybe they're just quiet or introverted or shy? Because I think a lot of times it's difficult to tell, but there is one major green flag that will tell you if the person is interested.
What is that?
And that is, are they making a plan to spend time with you? That's it.
Yeah.
That's the simple answer. Because if they're not making plans to spend time with you, then they're probably not that interested. If you were to suggest, maybe we should hang out, that's another great way to gauge whether or not they are interested. Because if they are interested, they're going to say yes. And if they're not interested, they're probably going to say no. Now, I understand that those types of situations are going to be very dependent on a number of factors. But typically, the one way you can tell if a person is shy, but they're still interested in you, is they're going to be asking you to hang out and get together. And if days are going by or weeks and you haven't heard from this person, or you're texting periodically, but they're not moving the needle forward, then they're probably not that interested.
Yeah, I agree. And also when you're dating and if you wonder if this person likes you or not, the answer is probably no, if you have to wonder if they like you or not. Because if they do like you, you should know. And people who date should be intentional with letting people know what they're feeling. And like you said, if someone's making a date with you and want to hang out with you and talking about making plans with you and make plans with you, then they want to hang out with you. It's again, same thing with platonic friendship, right? Like if I like you, I'm going to ask you, hey, let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner, let's go do something. And if the friends aren't asking to hang out with you, they probably don't want to hang out with you. So it's same thing with dating. And if men like you, they will make the effort to want to see you. I feel
Yeah.
like no matter how busy someone is, they if you're a priority for them, then they'll make plans.
That's it. If you're a priority, they will make room in their schedule for you. I think as somebody who has dated folks in the past who have given me a lot of mixed signals, it's been incredibly confusing to know, like, is this person into me? Is it because they're shy? What's going on here? And that can be incredibly frustrating. But I think that now I have learned that frustration that you feel mentally and physically in your bodies, you know that something is wrong. And it's probably related to the fact that they're just not that interested in you. It's okay for them to like you, right? And to engage with you when you engage with them. But if they're not interested in you in so much that they want to make plans to get together with you, then that's probably a sign that this person is not the person for you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Now, thinking back, now that you're a matchmaker and thinking back about your own dating experience, what were some things that you could have done differently knowing what you know now?
It's interesting to think about, what I would do differently. Because I am dating folks now. And so I do think about, like, is this what I would do if I had all the tools and all the resources and all the information at my disposal? And I think about in the past, maybe I would let things slide. Like, for example, somebody would mention to me, oh, I'm a terrible boyfriend, or I'm bad at relationships. And I would excuse it and be like, oh, it's fine. Like we'll just learn together. But if somebody tells you that they're bad at something like relationships, I think that has to be a bright red flag to suggest that, like, there needs to be some additional follow-up questions, such as, do you feel like you have the time to give to a relationship right now? Do you feel like you are open to learning how to be better at relationships? And I think that if that person is going to suggest that they're bad at relationships, but then not suggest that they are going to do anything about it, then that probably indicates that they're not going to be a great partner for anyone else. Because if they're bad at relationships now and they're not willing to grow, then what is that experience going to be like for you? And I think moving forward with dating, I think it's important to be with people who recognize that they do come with certain limitations or areas of growth, but they're willing to work on that. They're like engaged in working on that for themselves, and that they don't excuse bad behavior with that's just the way I am and that it is what it is. That's not somebody that I want to be with.
Yeah, I feel like people often say, well, they should love me for who I am, or this is who I am, so take it or leave it. And I feel like that's a very dangerous way of dating and dangerous way of living your life because you're basically saying, I'm closed-minded and I don't want to be better. I don't want to get better. I don't want to learn about different things. And that's not good. I feel like I don't even want to be friends with someone who's so close-minded like that. It's like they're walking around with their arms crossed and they're just not interested in learning about something different or changing one small thing about themselves or get help. They're the ones who don't reach out for help and probably could use help. So yeah, I don't like it when people are like, oh, these are my deal breakers and my must-haves, and I'm not flexible. So in this world of matchmaking, if you're not flexible, those clients are going to be tougher to match. And
Absolutely.
I like people who are thinking, you know what, I normally date within 20 miles, but I'll go 50 miles, I'll go 150 miles. Who knows? Your love of your life can be 200 miles away or 300 miles away, and you just don't know where life takes you. If you've been dating in your city for so long, you're just not having any luck with dating. You're bummed about it and you're thinking about moving. And instead of moving, why don't you just open up your area of dating? Instead of this town, why don't you open it up to the next town over and try, if you're only open to dating this age range, why don't you open it up a little bit by 2 or 3 years? And some things that you're so strict on, maybe you just loosen it up a little bit. Like, do you really need someone who also had a graduate degree? Maybe it's okay that someone just has a BA. If
Mhm.
you're in your late 30s or 40s and you always dated this certain age, why not try dating someone who might have kids or just one kid and just see how it goes? Like, you never know. I mean, oftentimes I take on clients and let's say I don't find them anybody, their membership is over. And then maybe like a year or two later, I find out that they're dating someone. And I said, oh, where did you meet this person? Like, tell me about this person you're with right now. It's someone completely not who I would have searched for. Like, they're dating someone completely different than what they envisioned they would be with. So you
Hmm.
just never know. Like,
You never know.
why not take your chances and date outside
Yes.
outside the box, right?
Having an open mindset and, saying yes to going to events with friends, even if you don't end up meeting the love of your life there, you might meet somebody who's really important to your lived experience, right? Maybe they're really important to for your business or meeting other people. Maybe that friend that you meet in this new place is going to connect you with the love of your life. So having an open mind about, doing things and meeting people, and I think is really important when it comes to just like your own lived experience. And that's why I think it's not something that people really learn or really are taught early on. And so that's a skill that we as matchmakers, or I like to, use that as part of my strategy brainstorming coaching sessions, is just talking about mindset and how do we utilize the way that we look at things, we look at life and our lived experiences so that we can open more doors, maybe not just professionally, but romantically. Maybe you try a hobby that you like, and having those new experiences really does change our brain chemistry, which is kind of interesting. Like when you go through a breakup, for example. People talk about, or I've read before, that it's suggested to try a new hobby so that you can create these new circuits in your brain associated with this thing that you're learning, and that helps kind of get out of the bad perseverating that you tend to do when you are still fixated on that person that you were dating and trying to get over. So you doing new things and getting out with people and meeting new people and going to new places. I think that having an open mindset when it comes to the person that you're dating and dating outside your comfort zone, I think these are all good and important things that we should try to just improve the way that we live our lives.
Yeah, kind of like when someone goes through a breakup and they get a new haircut, or they all of a sudden join the gym, or they want to change the way they look or the way they feel. All that is important. And taking on a new hobby, like you said, I think more importantly is you take on a new hobby, then you go on a date and you have something to talk about, and you're excited to talk about this new thing. And people can see it in your eyes, they can see it in your reaction when you're talking. And that's contagious and that's attractive, just by talking about a new thing that you're now learning or excited about or can't wait to go see or do again. Like, all that stuff is great. And I really believe getting out of your comfort zone is the best feeling. Is like, oh, this is kind of awkward, this is new to me, meeting new people, but it's exciting to do something different so you're not boring. Like, how many times, I don't know if you have any friends that are boring. I do. And you just want to tell them, like, man, you are so boring. I just wish you were more exciting. Can you just tell me stuff or give me some new information or add value to this conversation? Because yeah, you just want to you just want to be fun. That's all it is, right? When you're dating, two people going out to dinner or lunch or whatever that may be, like, the feeling you get around this person, if you like how you feel with this person, you're going to want to go back and go on a second date or third date with this person. So it's important to just develop your personality and just be charming and sweet and do new things.
I think, first of all, if you have some friends that are not fun, you're probably not going to want to call them up and hang out very often.
Right. That goes with dating too, right? If
It
you go on a
does.
date and this guy is boring, you're going to be like, man, he was kind of boring. And
No,
what did you like about him? I don't know. I can't even think of five things I liked about him on the date. So, yeah.
no one's ever said that about me, by the way.
Now, going back to your dating life, like, do
Yeah.
you feel like you're pretty open-minded and you're pretty positive with dating? Like, and how did you get to this positive mindset about dating after, your last breakup?
Yeah, I think thinking about what's really important to me as somebody who is dating is that's an important activity that needs to be done when you're in the early stages of getting out there and meeting new people and going on dates. Because the way that I like to screen people is just kind of like there's like part of it is looks, right? Like part of it is going to be like, is there any part of this person that I could be physically attracted to? Like that's how I try to keep it open, right? To like, is there anything about this person that I can find physically attractive? And then if there is, then I look at other things. So I do lead with looks first. That's me personally. Um, I judge books by their covers, and that's something that I've done ever since I was a little girl. For the most part, it has worked for me. That's how I found Tom Robbins' Invalids Home from Hot Climates, and that's still to this day one of my favorite books, and it has a phenomenal book cover. So I think that's important. But once you get behind the hood, I think that's where things tend to be, people tend to be very particular about like they need to make a certain income, they have to have a certain education. And to a certain extent, like I don't want to be dating somebody who's homeless or has so much debt that they're unable to live their life the way that I would want to, right? So there is a certain aspect of like, can they carry on a conversation? Can they, pay for dinner out? Right. So those are the limitations. But I wouldn't say that somebody has to have a bachelor degree, for example. There are plenty of incredibly smart people who did not finish college and are billionaires. So I don't look at education and income so rigidly in that way. I try to ask additional questions that would suggest to me whether or not that person is going to be a good fit based on the conversations that we have and based on, the way that we feel in the moment and the answers to questions that I ask them, right? I've asked plenty of guys, do you feel like you have time to be in a relationship right now? And I had one guy answer me, well, I'm really busy, but I can overlap. I thought to myself, I'm not sure you can. So,
So,
yeah.
people, what do you think about people who are so busy when they're dating that their next available date is like 2 weeks from now?
I'm okay with 2 weeks from now. That's not a problem. I think if it was like 2 months from now, a, that would be an issue for me. But busy people, I don't have a problem with dating busy people. But I want to feel like I'm being prioritized. I want to feel like the person understands that in order to be in a relationship, you do have to put time and effort in to make it work.
Do you think someone who is looking for a job right now should be dating?
Absolutely. I think that people who don't have who are in between jobs can absolutely date. I mean, they can communicate, for example, like I may be in between jobs, but I am confident that I'm going to find something or like this is my plan. And then they go out and do it. So people who have plans and who are maybe in between jobs or don't have maybe the lifestyle that they hope for at this point in time, they're still great people that have a lot to bring to a relationship potentially, right? It's when they don't have the means to be able to like go out to dinner. um Maybe they should consider, like, if they don't have the funds to do that, then maybe they need to work on building up their their income or whatever so that they can be able to provide for those fun things, because
Do
in a
you
relationship you're going to have to pay for stuff.
do you think a guy should pay on the first date or go Dutch?
I think a guy should pay on the first date 100%. I think it's really important that they do.
What
And
if
I,
they don't? When you go on a date, what if a guy doesn't pick up the tab right away?
yeah, I think if they don't pick up the tab right away, then that suggests to me that there's a lack of investment on their part, right? Like I'm all for women paying or like women uh, and men paying 50-50. And that's something that I always do when I go on dates. I always say, do you want to split it? And I ask that because I know it's important that like we're seen as like, oh, we're doing this together. But on the first date, the man should absolutely be paying. I would like for them to say, I'll get it, but I offer it because it's important that I represent myself as somebody who believes in us working and collaborating together, whether that's like contributing to a bill for dinner or the way that we interact and planning for get-togethers or whatever. um yeah.
So when he says, yes, let's split it on the first date, do you say yes to a second date with him?
I definitely I pause. If he wants to split it and we do, and then he asks for a second date, I will pause. I will think about, well, has this person shown me that they're capable of investing in their time and their effort with me? If I feel like that's a yes, then absolutely I'll go on a second date with them. But if I feel like that could be that they have not shown me that there's time and additional effort that they're willing to put in, then I would say no. But my preference and what I would suggest to people is that men should absolutely pay the first time. The second time, go ahead and go Dutch, split the bill. But the first time, I think there's something too when a man pays. It feels nice to have someone do that for you because
Yeah.
it shows that they're willing to invest their time, their energy, their money in spending time with you. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, especially if he's going to ask you out. And then what if you ask him out? Do you still expect him to pay on the first date?
I would be appreciated. It would be appreciated if he paid on the first date. 100%. Yes.
Yeah, I read or watch videos of people saying that men should always pay for everything on the first date, or that some women expect the men to pay for everything the whole life, not just first, second, or third date, but for everything. And I'm like, man, I've never dated a guy that paid for everything, like
No.
100% everything. And or like a guy takes me to go shopping and like buy whatever you want, I'll pay for it. Like I've never attracted those type of guys, I think. So I don't even know what that feels like for him to be like, I'll just pay for everything, because I've always been pretty financially independent and financially stable. So paying for stuff isn't a big deal for me. I'm not very nitpicky with that. So,
I think on the flip side, if somebody were to pay, if a man were to pay for everything in the relationship, that would be a deal breaker for me because I don't want to have somebody be paying for everything and then have that imply that they can then make all the decisions about what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it. So I think that initially a man paying on the date and then you working together to maybe split the bill or whatever is much better than like just the man paying every single time. I don't want to be in a relationship with that. And I think that being in relationships with men who do that, like that suggests to me that there could be some potential control issues, which I'm not interested in. Um, I think ultimately men and women should be able to pay for the things that they want to do together. And that should be decided. It doesn't have to be a 50-50 all the time. Maybe for example, I went on a dinner with a guy and I offered to pay for dinner and he said, no, I'm going to pay for dinner. But if you want to pay for dessert, we're going to go to this ice cream shop down the road. That would be okay. And I think that was a great way to handle that particular scenario because I felt cared for in the moment. He paid for dinner, but he also provided me the opportunity to say like, hey, like if you want to contribute, this is the way you can do it. And so I felt really great about that. And we did end up going on a second date. And so
yeah, I think that's great that if a man and a woman go on a date, I don't even have a problem with him paying first, second, or third date. And then the woman should say, hey, next time we go, I would love to treat you, or let's go get some ice cream, or hey, let's go get coffee. And she offers to pay for the popcorn at the movie theater or something. Like, I also think it's important, at least for me, to contribute a little bit and not be like a freeloader because I don't know, I've always made good money, so it's not like I need the guy to pay for everything. So maybe with that in the back of my mind, I've always offered to pay and have no trouble or no problems doing that. So, yeah. Okay. Just
we
curious.
definitely talk about like the societal historical significance of men paying because for so long women were not allowed to pay. They weren't able to get credit cards until the 1970s. So that's what I think of when I hear a man paying for everything. There are absolutely those types of folks who are very happy in their relationships where their man pays for everything, I'm sure. But I know that for me and for most of the people that I work with, they would not appreciate being in that kind of a relationship. I think in this day and age, we want to show that both men and women can contribute meaningfully, whether that's time, effort, money, whatever. That both sides need to do that at some point in their relationship in order for it to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what about if a guy is not making as much money as the woman? Do you still expect the man to pay, or is that a weird dynamic? Or do you, I mean, how do you do that? How do you treat a man who makes less than you, knowing he makes less than you?
If a woman goes out with a man and they know that this man makes less than them, I think it's still important that the man pays for the first date, 100%. Because again, showing that investment up front. But there is nothing wrong with women and a man deciding together that like it makes more sense for the woman to pay for things if she's able and okay with paying for things, then maybe he's able to contribute to that relationship in other meaningful ways. Maybe he plans for dates or provides other non-monetary ways to show that he is interested in spending time with her. Maybe he arranges a picnic, right? Other free types of events that, shows again like that energy, investment, and um, time and
So,
energy.
what if a man and a woman are dating and he's in New York and she's here in Colorado and they're dating long distance and they've had a video call, they've had a video date, and now he would like to meet her in person and he wants to come and see her in person. So, this guy's in
Mhm.
New York, she's in Colorado.
Hey, now we're talking about long distance relationships. I thought you were going in a different direction there, but now we're talking about how should we handle when our long distance partners come and visit us, and how
Yes.
and what does that intimacy look like? And that those are really important questions that I think should absolutely be addressed before that person comes and visits. um, yeah.
Would
So,
would
mhm,
that guy, would he, as a gentleman, he should say, "Hey, I would love to come out and see you.
yes.
I'll get a hotel nearby and we can go have dinner on Saturday." Like, I feel like he should volunteer to fly out to her the first time, but also without making it uncomfortable, mention right away that, "Hey, I'll get a hotel. I'll be staying at my friend's place or whatever, just so she doesn't feel the pressure to invite him to stay with her."
I think it depends if, there obviously if this is like a first date situation, again, and I don't think it's important that the man come to see the women. I think it's equally fine for the woman to decide she's going to fly and meet the man in his hometown.
But then
But
who pays for that? Does he pay for that or she pays for that?
I think that has to be something that is decided on a case by case basis. If we're assuming in the situation that where the woman is making more than the man and they have that conversation, he says he is not able to afford to be able to come out. If she's okay with that, then yeah, go ahead and pay for him to come out and see you. If that woman feels like it would result in a positive experience, or she's curious enough that and she can overlook the fact that he's not able to afford to be able to come on, because plates are expensive. That is true. Again, it comes down to a lot of different factors, including, what are you okay with? Is it okay to to date somebody who is going to have a significantly different income than you? Are you okay with them not being able to afford to flight out to see you, because that suggests that they might be a mismatch when it comes to lifestyles. Like, what if she wants to go to Costa Rica on the weekend? If that's something that's within her means, awesome. If it's something that she's okay with paying for him to do as well, and she's okay with it, he's okay with it, then who am I to judge? Right? I think you have to decide those things based on, what is okay for you, for in this case, like the woman and the man. Like, would the man be okay with that? But money and income aside, I think if a woman and a man decide that they're going to have a visit in somebody's hometown, and it's early on, maybe they've only met each other via Zoom once or twice, so this would be like a first meeting, then it's probably appropriate to say, like, no worries, I'm going to go ahead and stay with a friend or at a hotel, and we can meet up on Saturday night and see where things go. And then go ahead and do that for however long until people feel comfortable to do something different. And then, yeah. So I think it really just depends on so many different things. I think that there are plenty of women and men who are perfectly happy to be in a relationship where the woman makes significantly more than the man, and they're okay with it. And then I could also understand where there would be women and men who are not okay with it. And that would be, unfortunately, a mismatch. And so they would have to move on and meet other people that are better fits.
Now, when you started Storyfull Matchmaking, what who do you want to serve? Like, tell me a little bit about your business.
Yeah, I want to serve mostly successful singles, preferably, people in Colorado, where I am locally, would be a great place to start. Age-wise, 30s to 50s. But again, people feel like they're outside those ranges and they think that I could be helpful for them, that I'm willing to have a conversation and see where that goes. Um, I have, communities elsewhere around the country, so I'm happy to work with people outside of the state of Colorado. I think that people who enjoy nature, being outdoors, but not necessarily that, people who just are looking for other relationship-minded folks who value that and want that in their lives, those are the types of people that I want to work with.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Jennie, thank you so much for joining me on the Asian Dating Podcast. And women, if you're out there and you want to be part of my database, please go to twoasianmatchmakers.com, fill out a profile with me so I know where to find you and I can set you up. It's free for women to join. I'm setting up women all the time with my male clients. So, men, if you're looking for a matchmaker and you're looking to meet Asian women, I would love to work with you as well. So, I will put Jennie's information in the show notes for you to get in touch with her. If you're in Colorado, that is her specialty, working with men and women in their 30s to 50s. So, well, before I let you go, Jennie, what is one dating tip you have for the singles out there, whether we're dating during the winter time or summertime? Like, what is like a unique activity that you would think people would want to do aside from the typical first date dinner or first date lunch? What are some fun activities that you can suggest?
Oh, I have lots of different activities I can suggest. I'll suggest two. So one outside activity is going for a short hike with a hot mug of a beverage of your choice, whether that's hot chocolate or something else, up to you. It's kind of a fun thing that you can do to decide what are you going to bring. Is it going to be whiskey and tea or something else? And then the inside activity is I am hosting an event on October 9th that I would love to share with folks. They do live in the Colorado Springs area or are nearby. I'm having an event for singles at Zocalo Restaurant, and we're going to do some interactive games. There's going to be some light appetizers, and that can be a great way to maybe meet somebody interesting, have some great conversations, and maybe find some romance.
Well, thank you, Jennie, for that. I like that idea where you decide to go on a hike and bring a beverage of your choice. And you can learn a lot about somebody by bringing a certain beverage. For me, I think I would bring hot green tea. So I love
Ooh.
green tea, and that would be great. Just summit a hike and then just sit down and relax and have some tea or hot chocolate or whatever that may be. That would create some great memories.
I agree. Very healthy,
Yes, very healthy.
antioxidant rich.
Well, thank you, Jennie, so much for joining me on the Asian Dating Podcast.